Hey everybody, Neri coming to you from Vienna, Austria. What is up with that? It's true, I'm in temporary exile, but I will be back in the summer, I promise. Meanwhile, today is the premiere of Concrete Cowboy, the movie based on my novel, Ghetto Cowboy, premiering today, April 2nd on Netflix. Um, and I've gotten a lot of questions the last weeks and months from actual viewers like you. So I thought I'd take this moment to answer some of those questions. Perhaps this little intro before you settle down with your bowl of popcorn to watch this wonderful movie. Some interesting numbers today on Netflix. The movie will be playing in 190 countries and 32 languages to a potential audience of 500 million people. I'd be happy with a tiny, tiny percentage of that, maybe a million. And maybe a tiny percentage of that will buy the book too, hopefully. So these are actual questions from viewers. So let's dive in. Question 1. Cowboys in Philly? I guess that's a question. Yeah, that's the reaction I had too, and most readers have as well. Really, the reason I wrote the book Ghetto Cowboy was when my friend Doug Ertman, shout out, sent me a link to a photo essay in Life magazine back in 2008. And the first image I saw was this young black boy standing on the back of this horse in the inner city in North Philadelphia. And my reaction is like, what is going on here? And just amazing photos of this neighborhood, black cowboys, and my mind is like wants to know more. And I jump on Google or whatever was Google back then, and literally like no references at all to this neighborhood and the horses or anything. Like nobody's written about it. But I'm intrigued, and so I start haunting like message boards looking for references to horses and horse people in the area, and eventually start to find some and find a name, and then contact that name, which led to another name, eventually to Fletcher Street, which is the heart and hub of the black cowboy world from my eyes. Though there are many other stables. At one point, there were probably upwards towards 800 black cowboys in Philadelphia, and now it's, a lot of those stables have been closed down due to this kind of ongoing battle with the city, claiming, public land for development reasons, public land that a lot of these stables have used for their horses, and yeah, but the thing that amazed me about this whole effort were like these older guys who have been doing this thing for decades, saving horses, a lot of them ex-race horses who literally on their way to the slaughterhouse to be turned into dog food, and then bringing them back to the neighborhood, to save them, and using their own money, whatever money they get from their jobs, to keep these horses alive and well, and making makeshift stables and making lots into corrals and things like that. And not only that, but what most people in Philadelphia know about this neighborhood, Strawberry Mansion, pretty much the only thing in their eyes is like, this is the most dangerous neighborhood in the city. It's in the news for that. But these guys, their idea was to actually give these horses to kids in the neighborhood, and the reasoning being, if you own a horse, that's a full-time job. So, you're going to be taking care of this horse before school, after school, on weekends. And, how people regard you depends on how well you take care of your animal. If you keep them well fed and well groomed and you ride them, props on you. If not, it's not going to look good. But two, also, change in attitude for young people, I think, just riding around on a horse through these neighborhoods, from that height, gives you a whole different perspective of the world, where people literally have to look up to you. So I feel like these people get a lot of respect for doing what they do. And like I say, there's a lot of different barns in Philadelphia doing a similar thing, which is, a beautiful thing. And hopefully the movie and the book, is helping to change the attitude of Philadelphia at large to not erase this history, this tradition, this way of life, but to embrace it as the treasure that it deserves to be. And so, I think the movie is going to give a big push towards that. And I've already seen change in terms of media and how the media portrays this area. So yeah, like at the time I wrote the book, it felt like this tradition wasn't going to be around much longer because the city was really actively looking to shut it down. A lot of horses were moving across to Jersey and being located at different places. And yeah, it felt like it was going to be over. And I wanted to write the book to kind of capture it because I thought it was a beautiful thing. And these guys were heroes in my eyes. And, wanted to make a record of it. And but luckily they're still around, still going, and other stables picking up steam and doing well. But they rely on, donations and guardian angels, which I'll plug at the end. So another question, like, how did you hook up with the filmmakers? What were they like? So the director, Ricky Staub, came to me, and apparently, he had worked in Hollywood for producer Sam Mercer and worked on many different productions, and then started his own production company in North Philly, in this part of North Philly where the horses are. So he had a real awareness of the community, really valued the community, had made a short film featuring, all real people in the roles from this community, had made 2 beautiful short films featuring the Cowboys, which I thought were pretty amazing, and also had a very strong instinct towards working with former incarcerated people and had a real interest in social justice. So to me, that was the most important element. Like, this guy was a real deal. He put his company and his money where his mouth is, and as far as he had a real strong interest in representing the community and having the community involved directly throughout. So to me, that was bigger than any issues I might have in terms of adapting this movie. And of course, I know the difference between a movie and a book, and things have to change, but I thought they did a great job overall in keeping to the spirit of it. And of course, Idris Elba and Lee Daniels and Caleb McLaughlin and people like this, couldn't ask for more. So what are the biggest differences between the movie and the book? Well, there's the name. Concrete Cowboy is actually a term that's used because obviously they're urban cowboys, so Concrete Cowboy. Certain barns have used that term, so while at first I was kind of like, you're changing the name, but most books that are adapted in Hollywood undergo a name change. That's fairly common, and so afterwards I got used to it. Now, it looks pretty good, so I'm okay with it. Let's see, Cole was aged up a little bit, so from 13 to 15. Tex was changed into a female character, which I was cool with, just to kind of add some more female energy to this world and represent the cowgirls. Little potential love interest added, but not overdoing it, just kind of there with a girl who's from the neighborhood, which is pretty cool. The Smush story is played out much more, which I like, which I was also writing separately for another thing, which I'll tell you about later. And then, it's a little bit grittier. The language is definitely stronger. So there are a fair amount of cursing, but more accurate to the neighborhood, I think. And then the final thing was, despite like pretty much an all black cast, the only one who's not black, who's in the book black, is Boo, Cole's horse. And that was really for practical reasons because, they needed a horse to do certain, you know, stunts, like be trained horse to do things on command, and they couldn't find one that was black, and so the horse, they got is the one that would do the things that they needed to do. And yeah, it's like sometimes you got to sacrifice things, but it's all right. It's all right. But overall, I feel like they kept to the spirit and tone of it, and by the end, I feel it has the same kind of resonance for me. So I was pretty happy with it overall. What were Idris and Caleb and Method Man like? Um, Incredibly nice. Excited that I came to visit and that I was the author. And my first reaction when they walked by fully dressed in costume was not like, oh, that's Idris Elba or that's Method Man. My first reaction was, oh, that's Harper and that's Cole and that's Leroy. And to see my characters that came out of my head like in three-dimensional, like walking around me and could talk to him was pretty strange experience. But these guys sacrificed a lot, kind of gave to the production. Everyone pretty much worked for nothing. This is like a true indie film, despite some of the names involved. Like it's indie in every respect. Shot like in 2 weeks. Just like people working for scale, like putting money back, and including myself. So it was real like neighborhood community effort. Like what I liked about it is like, and what was a very meta experience for me was like shooting in the actual locations that I based that inspired my book. A lot of the cowboys who inspired kind of the feeling of the characters, actually they're on set talking directly to the actors, keeping it 100%. So, actual community people, cowboys, cowgirls in the movie itself, the real. Some big supporting characters, some people behind the camera too, and also just, shooting on some of the streets, like these small streets, like the community is literally like surrounding the whole production, like everybody on the stoops watching the action. So it was a beautiful thing to film in these neighborhoods that have pretty much not been seen in any movies before. So I hope, they're proud to be represented. Yeah, so it was kind of a very interesting, strange meta to see all these layers, like actual locations that I turned into fiction, actual people that I turned into characters. Now those actual people are talking to my characters in the actual locations. I definitely felt like I was not needed. Like, they got it. They're good. This is their thing now, so let them go. What does an executive producer do? Well, so I was executive producer on it, and aside from sitting in the video tent and watching, just, letting them do their thing. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I felt. Like, once you say yes to them, you trust them to do something worthy, not to be a pain in the butt, and let them do their job, because they're all great at it. So, I could throw in some suggestions here and there, but, I'm not going to go up to Idris Elba and say, on that last shot, maybe you want to, like, no, the guy's big. Can you set me up on a date with Idris Elba? No. Okay. Will there be a movie tie-in book? Yes, there will, and it's coming out soon. And right now you can buy the original book, Ghetto Cowboy. It's got a special sticker on it. But the new movie tie-in with the new cover will be out soon with some bonus material, like an essay I wrote about, the journey of from book to movie. And also, leading into the next question, an advance preview of the sequel. What? There's a sequel to Ghetto Cowboy? Yes, there is. It is coming out in October. And the name is, well, I'm going to save that for next week when I'm going to post about it and do a cover reveal and everything. But this book picks up right where the first book left off. And I'm really, really happy with how it came out. It started, way before there was any talk of a movie. So it was set up way before then. So it's not like me jumping on the bandwagon. It was already going. And in fact, some of the things that are in the movie were things that I was already writing separately in this book. And so it's kind of must have been in the air because the filmmakers picked up on it. So it's kind of a in-between transitional thing going on. It's kind of interesting. So yeah, watch the movie, enjoy the movie, have other people watch the movie, recommend the book if you can. Couple of links I'm going to add below, a couple of GoFundMe's. There's two organizations from the neighborhood, the Urban Writing Club and the Urban Writing Academy. Both are trying to, one, keep the stables on Fletcher Street alive because they rely on donations, and two, the Academy trying to find a permanent place to set up a stable and academy for young people in the area to learn to become horse people. And both are worth supporting, definitely, absolutely. And those links will be below. So grab your popcorn, sit down, enjoy the movie, have yourself a good time. And yeah, I'll see you later.